Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm very happy to have you on board today. I hope you're doing well. As we like to do, we will just wait a few minutes that everybody can join in. It's lunchtime in Switzerland. It's okay. I got some food already, so I'm quite ready to wait a little bit. But the goal is that everybody can join at the same time, and then we can start and we can have our nice discussion with our first panel, as I like to say, with my very nice guest panelists, which are online since a couple of minutes with me. So all should be all right, and all should be ready for 1 hour 30 discussion. It will depend of the question and also the way our people they want to speak, they want to share their experience. So just 1 minute, and then we will start this this panel. As I said to our panelists, it's difficult to start the best way because we have people living on the east, some people living on the west. Okay, I don't say that Switzerland is in the middle. It will be wrong to say like this. I don't want to have problems with our guests, but for example, for Nadine, it's 7 o'clock now. For Carlos, it's 8 o'clock, and for Samir and me, it's more lunchtime, easy time, and we are coming in the evening with Edmond. It's like 7 o'clock, and for Matt from Australia, it's 8 o'clock. So it means that 10 o'clock. Yes, 9 and 10. Sorry. Yes, it's very nice that we can have everybody on board. So if you agree, I guess we can start. The people will join. It's not a big deal. We are also live on the Facebook. So let's go. Let's do it. So thank you everybody for joining us. It's a big pleasure to have you on board, to have you with us for this first ever panel that Never Stop Learning organized. And it was important to put people from basketball together, from referee side, but not only for 5-on-5. We will have people, I will introduce you after, from wheelchair basketball, 3-on-3, also 5-on-5, and the goal is to speak about the discipline, the competition of basketball, and not only about 5-on-5, because many people are playing basketball. And I like to say many times that basketball, when people are not passionate like we do, they see one hoop, they see one ball, people playing, they don't care even if it's 3-on-3, 5-on-5, they just say, I saw basketball. And really the goal of today is to share with you experience about how it was in the past, all the experience of our panelists, and how we see the vision of basketball, and how we can work together is the goal of Never Stop Learning, how we can work together to I would say, to break this barrier, because when we speak about the gender, we are too many times speaking that, this is, for example, a women referee, she's pushed because she's a woman referee. But as we know, it's all about the capacity, the level of officiating is not about the gender. And this is something that we will discuss together. Before we start, if you have any question, put it in the chat or put it in the question and answer box, and we will come through the question. Of course, we prepared some questions because it was important that the panelists could get ready, because everybody was a bit stressed when I asked them to join. So thanks for my panelists to be here, and I will introduce the panelists just in a few minutes, but I wanted to start by speaking a bit about Never Stop Learning. Never Stop Learning started almost 1 year ago, so it's why I said it's a 1 year anniversary of Never Stop Learning. The goal was to put more the people together to speak about basketball, and it was really nice journey that we start, and that I try to keep on going. We try to upgrade all the time, and this is really the important for us, that we want to bring people together, not only referees as we do now, but player coaches, to share about their experience, expertise, to trying to improve the level of our game and the quality of the sport in general. We are speaking about basketball now more, but the vision that we have, and maybe the mission also can be part of it, it's to share the knowledge also between different sports. For example, me, I would be so happy to know more about ice hockey referee, ice hockey coaches, the ways they manage the team, because how they exchange the player and so on. It will be very interesting, I guess, also as manager in my work, to see how these things are working. I wanted also to share with you one small video. So I will put the sound here, and I will show you this video that we did at the start. There we go. So never stop learning will be nothing without our speaker, and I wanted to thank you to all the speakers. It's more than 30 people who join us to share the experience. As you can see, there is our friend Carlos on the first page, but we had some coaches, referees, 3-on-3 player, also 3-on-3 referees, as you can see, Edmond, president, agent. It was important to have many kinds of discipline or function into basketball. We had one of the chief of 3-on-3, one head coaches, as we can see. Also wheelchair basketball. I was very happy now that we will have Matt Wells for one session next month speaking about wheelchair basketball, because it's basketball, and people should know more about wheelchair basketball, like I want, for example. And on the last page, we had even ice hockey coaches and coaches and people who are very, very involved into basketball. And it was a great pleasure to have all these people on board with me, to share, as I said, experience, knowledge, and that the people can improve with them. This is really our goal, and I hope we can still push and make the thing better, because we are not specialists into informatic technology, but I think more or less we are on the good way. About our website, few words. You can have the agenda here. The agenda is already online for the upcoming months. With nice speaker. This week it will be about 3-on-3. Then we will go back on 5-on-5 wheelchair. We will have Johan Rosso, who we hope that he's gonna go to the Olympics, because 5-on-5 we were joking about this. I still don't know who's gonna go to the Olympics. Sports psychology, then the head of the referee of the EuroLeague. So many kind of people who will share their expertise. We like to, and this is something that we improved from the first session when we started, we put the replay session, because like it's now, it's difficult for everybody to be online on Monday at 8 o'clock Swiss time. So it's why we developed this replay video for our subscriber. And every month we try to post a blog. Last time it was Sarah Gamal from Egypt speaking about her. It was really nice discussion. She has big motivation. She is enjoying life, and it was great to speak about her as referee, but also as person. She gave many tips if you want to go to vacation in Egypt, for example. And the blog, today we are on the 20s, and as you know, from September, on the 5th and on the 20th on each month, we are lucky to have a blog post by our sports psychologist. I'd like to say our because she's not our, but Dubravka Martinovic, for sure she's with us today. So hi, Dubravka. Nadine say hi for sure also. No, it's very high quality of blogs, and it's just post from today. So feel free to go. It's on the website, and you will not lose your time. And as you can see on the screen, it's not 25 minutes reading, so it's very easy to read. And if you need to translate, go to Google. It's quite easy. So it was Nsl. It's what we did, what we tried to put in place. But now it's time. It's time to introduce the panelists, the people that you can see on the videos. They are ready, more than ready. First of all, thank you very much for all of you for joining us. It was important, as I said, and as I told you, to have, I would say, experienced people, not veterans. We joked about this before, but to have people who are involved in basketball and dedicated into basketball. And I think it's what we were able to reach. The first person, ladies first, this is important to have with us Nadine Crowley. Hi, Nadine. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, because it's 7 o'clock. I asked her, please, can you wake up for us? She was very happy. She says straight, I will do it for you. So great. I mean, for you guys, not only for me. Nadine is former international referee, FIBA instructor. So many referee for sure knows her, or she were lucky already to have the advices of Nadine. Also a lot involved with the FIBA for the licensing commission, which is currently important now because all the FIBA referees need to pass the test, also the commissioner. And she's also involved in Women in Basketball for the world. So it's something which is really important for us and we'd like to push. So thank you very much, Nadine, for accepting the invitation. On
My
the
pleasure.
second, yeah, thank you very much. Our friends, Samir Abaakil from Morocco, is with us since for a couple of sessions. It was in French, but he liked to do it in English also. So it was very nice that we can have someone from Africa who can share also all his expertise and experience. International referee, of course, now also now referee instructor. He officiates Olympic Games, the last World Cup in China. So big experience with us again. Edmond O, our friend from
hi everyone.
Hi Edmond, our friend from Hong Kong. For him is almost evening, so it's okay. He has not the same problem as Nadine. They have 12 hours difference, so he's ready soon to have a dinner. Now Edmond is for 3-on-3. He's one of the superstar referee on 3-on-3. If you watch 3-on-3, you saw him on the TV for sure with his smile. Sometimes he's not making the call that I wish for my team of Lausanne, but it's not a big deal. He was former FIBA referee, FIBA 3-on-3 referee since a couple of years, almost since the start. Nominated for the Olympics in Tokyo, second time. So congratulations, Edmond. And
yeah,
of course, numerous
so
of very, very important games in 3-on-3. So if you like 3-on-3, you will like it after when we will speak about 3-on-3 for sure today. You will see Edmond a lot. And if you don't like him as referee, sorry, you will see him a lot. Our next friend, the youngest, I said that for the competition, we were joking about the youth competition. Is why we invite our friend Carlos Peralta Ortega, but not at all. It's a very talented referee from Ecuador, living in Uruguay. The youngest panelist, as I said, but he officiated already NBA Summer League, the last World Cup in China. He was together with our friend Samir, and also lately the BCL Americas final. So Carlos, thank you very much for being with us. It's a big pleasure to have you with us. We met already in Europe. It was 2-3 years ago, but then after you officiate too many competition and good competition, so I couldn't officiate him with him again.
Yeah, nice experience. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's a big pleasure to be part of this, and I enjoyed this.
Thank you very much.
Program.
And last but not least, our friend Matt Wells from Australia. So for him, it's 10 o'clock, as he said. So it's a bit late, but when we need to speak, it's not very easy because with all this hour of difference, but we always find a time, and he will be one of the speaker of NSL at 8:30. So it means it will be very very early for you, but it will be during your holidays. So thank you for accepting the invitation. If you don't know Matt, I like to say he's the king in wheelchair basketball. Okay, no, he doesn't like when I said it, but huge experience in wheelchair basketball, huge experience in basketball. He's a former referee. He officiated the last Olympics. He was the crew chief on the final in Rio of the Paralympics, and now he's referee instructor and also technical officer for all the region of Asia and Australia. So someone a lot involved into wheelchair basketball. But as we discuss, is a lot involved in basketball, but we will understand today why all our speakers they choose the discipline. For example, why Matty chose the wheelchair basketball. And of course I put myself because we needed a name for the and I'm joking, we needed a name from Europe also for this panel, but it was important to make it global from all continents. We succeed for the first panel, and but for the next panel, some people, some women that I asked, they were not able to come this time. So I will have to do one other panel because they told me they want to join. So if you are ready, I think we can start. And as I said, I will close now the presentation. Like this, you are able to see better our panelist, our speaker. And as I said, today, it's really important for me and I think for you to hear more about our panelists, and I will try to go through all the panelists. I will try to see all of your questions, and of course, speaking about it, we will go through the basketball. And what I want to go first, it's about the changes into basketball, the improvement into basketball in the last 10 years. Like Carlos, we are maybe less experienced for this to see all the changes, but for sure in the last five years we saw also so many changes. So it's important for me to know and to listen from you guys to see what are the most significant changes for you in the last 10 years in basketball. And I want to start with Nadine, if you agree. Again, ladies first. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good to start, but thanks for Thanks, Nadine. And what is your opinion about the changes as you saw it? Share a bit your experience, because you were referee, now you are instructor, so for sure you saw all the important changes.
Yeah, there have been a lot of changes, and 10 years is a vast amount of time to look at that. But I guess if you're looking at the changes in the sport of basketball, it's become more global. And it's been marketed, more so it's across the world. The NBA has spread out, China, Africa. It's just become so much bigger, and more people are playing, and more women and girls and women are playing, and that's the great thing about our game, is that anybody can pick up a ball anywhere in the world and play the sport, and can play the sport at any sort of level, and any type of basketball. So like you have on this call, we have 3-on-3, we've got the wheelchair, we've got every level of basketball. So for me, that's one of the biggest things is the global reach. And as a result of that, I think there's a globalization of people associated with the game of basketball. And so that has spread to, developing referees, it's spread to the administrative part, it's spread to technical delegates and people who assist with the game. It's just become so big. So that's great. Other parts is just over the last 10 years, the athleticism has improved significantly for both the men and women. We're seeing women playing above the rim. The speed of the game is so much quicker. We see differences in the game. The game is spread out now, right? You've got your 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" centers shooting threes from, way out there. And so it's really spread the game out, which is quite nice to see. And I'll leave something for my panelists here, but the last thing that I was thinking that's really changed, and I'm what did you call us? Experienced. So I'm not too up on this piece, but social media has totally changed the game in so many ways. I'm not even gonna, all I have to say is that social media has changed the game. I'm not a social media guru, but I do know that it's had a significant impact on the globalization, but also bringing the players from around the world into our lives and hearing, what's going on with them. So to me, those are some of the significant changes. And I'll leave some other stuff for my friends. But yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's big changes, globalization, and also, as you said, I think this is something important for the people. You can play everywhere, and which level you want, what kind of basketball you want, one against one, two against two, three against three. It depends at school, and this is something which is great. We can jump to the other part of the world, maybe to Matt. Matt can maybe share a bit more with us, because also to say wheelchair basketball for the one who doesn't know much about wheelchair basketball is the main event, the main team event at the Paralympics. And also we will go after about this, but also in terms of the education of the referee and so on, there is so many specificities that are great and that we should use more for the I would say normal basketball or 3-on-3 basketball. So Matt, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, I guess, in terms of the language, we talk about wheelchair basketball and running basketball rather than normal basketball.
Thank you.
Because wheelchair basketball is normal, and we've got to be careful of that word normal. For me, I first got involved with wheelchair basketball in 1995, and in 1998, Australia hosted the World Championship. And what I've noticed, a significant change in the sport in the time that I've been involved, is the shift from it being about disability and it being a disabled sport, which kind of was where it began, where really now the focus is on ability. And one of those key areas has to do with something called classification. One of my great friends, Tufik, who works with us in Asia Oceania, he runs classification clinics, and he tries to explain, in able-bodied basketball, do we classify players? And people go, no, it's all one, it's all inclusive. Well, the reality is that in FIBA basketball, we do classify, because there is female and male. We group athletes by age group, and there's all this. And in wheelchair basketball, we classify athletes from those with the most functional ability, the 4.5 players, down to the 1-point players who have the least functional ability. And once upon a time, the language is around, they were the most disabled players on the court. But in my time, I've seen these so-called disabled players just unbelievable what they can do. That a 1-point player that once upon a time was someone who could shoot close to the basket and spent a lot of time picking, like you talked about, the big guys in running basketball now shooting those 3-pointers, 1-pointers, paraplegic shooting 3-pointers, remembering that we're playing on exactly the same court as FIBA basketball, 10-foot rings, same size, same everything. And so it's that growth in mindset around it being about ability rather than disability. The other thing that influences our game, which is not such a thing in FIBA, is around technology in terms of the wheelchairs that people are using. So I've seen photographs of wheelchair basketball played in our country not all that long ago, where players were basically using hospital wheelchairs. Where now these are custom-made chairs for players, innovating around things like seat design. So once upon a time, we're sitting on just flat seats, looking at molded seats and various things to try and the reality is it doesn't give a player back muscle, it doesn't give them back spinal cord injuries or limbs but it enables that chair to become part of the athlete. And so it's that sort of thing where we've seen the game now much faster than when I first got involved. So it's a game that's constantly evolving, and as you can tell, I get very excited about it.
Yeah, which is great, and we will discuss after why you choose to go to the wheelchair basketball instead of running basketball. And I think this is also a nice story to hear, because the passion that you give and that you share with us will be, I can't wait. So maybe we were speaking about digitalization, globalization. Maybe Carlos can say more about these changes and how he feel it, because okay, maybe he's not a referee instructor, he's less experienced in terms of this, but for sure for this all this digitalization, you see big changes.
Yes. Everything is changed all the time. Everything, rules, interpretations, like say Nadine, say Matt, all tournaments. We have more tournaments. We have more teams involved in different tournaments, like the last World Cup. But from my side, like a referee, we have more changing, like physical, mental, and techniques, because we grew up with that and reduce a lot of mistakes. We have more topics to use in the pre-game, in the post-game meetings, and that to grow up like a team. It's a clear information. We have a nice goals with that, and we need to work on that. And every time, every day, every game, change and learn something new.
And also the part with the video, I think video is great. I think for any discipline, it's great. The influence, the good influence of the video, that after every game you can see, and video doesn't like, this is the problem. After the game you can see clearly your mistakes, but it's good if you can learn from it. But on the other side, if Carlos is officiating the BCL Americas and he making a nice mistake in the game, after 5 minutes I have it on my cell phone on Facebook for sure, because people like to share also the mistake of the referee. This is also something which maybe is not easy to live with, but this is something that we need to live with. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And about Samir, about Africa also, Africa basketball, I don't know if you saw that in FIBA Africa, they are developing also many things with the NBA also, and Samir was one of the luckiest to be at this camp for the referees, and also involving so many things. So Samir, I will let you the mic.
Hi everybody again. I think we cannot just talking about change, but you know, this is like something is coming outside of you and you have to follow. You have to follow it. This is not just for changing you, but to be in, as she said, Nadine, this is about one global basketball and one identity. We need that to be at the same image for all the people. Just to make a difference between London and World Championship, it was in 2012, and 2 years before it was in China. This is a big difference, because you know, now like a ref, you feel that you are not working like alone, and you have to do your job and it's finished, but you have to wait. Somebody is waiting you, will waiting you in the changing room in the end of the game, and he will use, and or she will use for you a video. This is not about discussion. This is about something happened really, and you have to look it on the video. This is the first thing, and every ref in the world hope that didn't have any video in his game. This is not good for him. And another thing, that this is a big change for the profile of instructors. Now, when you finish the game, an instructor will be with you in the changing room in the end of the game. He can talk with you like this. Then when he talk with you with one topic or two, he give you the video, and time to time, like the last experience in Greece 2 years before, we can make a meeting with 2 or 3 instructors. This is not so easy. And the question that I don't like it, that means not I don't like to be in, but not like this, what do you think about yourself and what do you think about your colleague? This is the big thing. The second thing, this is like I'm talking to Nadine now, but I'm talking to all. But the best thing is the big change, and the big change in the last 4 years. Now what is that everything it was with criteria. You cannot make a call depend to your personal decision. You have to take care that there is more criteria that you have to respect. If you don't respect it, you will have the feeling that you make a mistake on the court. And that was the last session with Dubravka. It was how to when you make a mistake, what to do, because it's finished. You can take, yes, it's my mistake, forget. Now I can take another mistake, but I have to be care that next time I have not to make the same mistake. That's everything with criteria. Everything is global, one identity, and we have to work with stakeholders, like in an organization, and you have to manage and to work with all stakeholders. You have to work with your colleagues, you have to work with the commissioner, you have to work with the instructor, you have to work with FIBA, you have to work with. That put that we upgrade to more professional profession. That this is not to make a whistle and to go home, but you have some responsibility to take it in the end of the game or the end of championship. Other thing, you cannot make a physical test, beep test, and you are okay, but now you have to make more than 7 or 8 UU tests before to be in the championship. This is more preparation, more professional, and this is for Africa. This is the big difference. We are not professional. We are semi-professional or normal professional like a ref, and we need more time to be in this style of organization, and that needs more work and more work in Africa.
Thank you very much. Standard is high, as it's written in many documents of the FIBA, and this is something which is not easy to manage for the referee, as you said, but what I like to say all the time is that we are lucky to have instructors, and the people need to understand that when the instructor are on the side, if you have Nadine, if you have Matt, for example, and if you have Samir, because he's brand new FIBA instructor, I think the referee needs to understand that, congratulations, yes, Nadine. It's important that they are here to help. They are not here to create you more problems. They are here to help, to give advice and so on. And I think it's important, and the people are maybe feeling this more. And the video doesn't like this is something which is great. But on the other end, to have the instructor on the side, to have the feeling of the game also, and to share the information about one play. And this is great, because with one play, we were discussing with video analysis, again video, but with one play, you can see in the NBA, they are discussing 20, 30, 45 minutes about only one block charge situation. And when you can share with the colleagues, when you can share with the friends, with the instructor, with FIBA, sometimes because you think it's a very good example, this is something, as you said, this globalization it's great for us. The big changes also in FIBA, it was the 3-on-3. It was 2010 in Singapore. FIBA decided, okay, so now we will invest money, we will invest time, people to have the 3-on-3, and some referees, they took part of it from the start, almost from the start. It was 2013, correct, Edmond, that you started with FIBA 3-on-3?
Yeah, I started 2013, yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So for you, it's a big experience, and I think you can share with us also. You were in 5-on-5, okay, and then you decide to do only 3-on-3 as FIBA referee, also because of the license, and to share also your experience in the last years.
Yeah, I guess when we are talking about the changes in the last 10 years, so for example, like free basketball, we start in the Youth Olympic Games in 2010 in Singapore, and after 10 years, there's opportunity to have the first debut in Tokyo Olympics. So that's how we progress in the last 10 years. So within this 10 years, I think we are connecting people, especially providing opportunities to countries who have very limited resources to develop their basketball players or teams. And now because we have less players for fixed free basketball, okay, when you go for an event, you only have floor players on the court, so it's more easy for them to form the teams, and also it's easier for them you know, to develop these sports in their country, because it's easy. You only need just one hoop, so it's quite easy for those. And also within these 10 years, I think I can talk about some on the hardware side. So when we are if you're looking at the flooring, the backstop unit, or even the ball is completely different. So people keep asking me, okay, why you're playing a smaller ball for the men's team? But this is the difference between 5-on-5 and fixed free. So this is how we want people to, okay, street basketball. I guess a lot of people here, we're starting from playing street basketball. That's why how we say from the street to the Olympics. So we use different technologies to find special materials or even the texture for the ball to improve maybe the field goal percentage. So it's more easy to have for the ball handling, but also to score, because the time is shorter, it's fast, and people want skillful players on the court as well. So we do different things to try promoting this to more people. That's from the hardware side. And for the technology one, I think most of the panelists here, they also mentioned about videos, etc., social media. So for 3-on-3 basketball, we also use IRS here, but also we add the challenge in the game, and it really helps the game itself, especially in the critical moment at the end of the game. So it helps the referees to make a good decision for the game. So that, I think that changes a lot, because players, they can request the challenge if they think, okay, you make a mistake. So they believe, for example, like the ball is last touched by the opponent, not them. And we have only maybe a few seconds left, and that is important to the team to win the game. So I think these kind of changes really helps not only for the referees, but also for the team as well, and also the spectators, the audience, because they want to see, okay, the team they support, they can win without, okay, any mistakes from the refs. But I would say this is quite important. And also we have all the videos after the games. We discuss with the referees, and like Steph said, okay, if we make any mistakes or terrible calls after a few minutes, okay, we'll see ourselves on the social media. That's true, but it also help us, but it also help us, you know, to improve our officiating in the game. Because in the past, if we don't have this kind of technology, it's sometimes quite challenging for us to recall what kind of decision we made and why we make the decision. But with all the support right now, it's good for the referees and also for the instructor as well. So I guess the changes for this is really important, and also for social media, it helps different 3-on-3 referees to connect to each other, and also help educating people about the rules difference, and also educating the players. If you want to switch from 5-on-5 to fixed free, so you have to change your mentality because the physicality in the game is different. So you have to be prepared before you move to the sports. So I guess technology is one of the key things within the last 10 years to help improving this the sport, the basketball for everyone.
Yeah, this is something for sure. And I think the technology you mentioned, the video, it can be big discussions and big even a panel about this, because how it helps to improve the game, and why it's so good to have the video. But then also you have the people who are against the video saying, yeah, but the video, it stopped the game, it's killing the flow of the game. But me, when I had some discussions with other sports, we were asked question about video. I like to say, at the end of the game, if all the spectators on the TV spectators, they see that the basket should not count, and you have the video, you have the technology for you, and you cannot watch that you are incorrect with this. This is bad for the basketball. Then we need to find a good the good balance, what we can do, what we cannot do. There is different rules also, and I want to hear some of you. Maybe someone will decide to speak about this, about the basketball rules. Do you think there is too many changes into the basketball rules? And what do you think about maybe FIBA doesn't have the same rules as the NBA? What is your opinion about this? I don't know. Someone want to speak about this? Don't be afraid.
Well, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
You know, I think every league wants to identify themselves, and you know, there's differences, and so I have no problem with, you know, different rule sets, you know, between FIBA and the NBA, because they are different leagues. They are, you know. However, having said that, it's evident that over the past few years, they are working together to come a little closer with their rule set. And, you know, it makes sense in that, you know, players now, because it's such a global game, players are crossing borders, right? So you have NBA players playing for their national teams and therefore be playing at FIBA tournaments. You have WNBA players playing internationally, and then again at FIBA tournaments. So everybody is sort of this cross-pollination where, you know, we've had to move towards cooperating and working together in order to make the game better. And so for me, that's, you know, I think that's the importance of sharing some of the rule sets. And I know that there's ongoing conversations between the NBA and FIBA around, you know, not just the rules, but how you develop referees and the technology and all of that. And I think that that's how you grow the game of basketball. You grow the game by sharing knowledge, by sharing resources, right? It's not just one league owns all of the knowledge. This is a game that everybody plays. And so, and that's the great thing. Working together is so important. And when we divide and have our little fiefdoms, and you know, that doesn't help the game. So for me, you know, I'm a proponent of working together to grow the game, sharing resources, and whatnot. So that's what I have to say on that piece.
I think the other thing is that having those different rule sets that do apply allows for innovation to occur as well. Mm-hmm. So it can be that FIBA is looking at NBA and going, hey, that will work for us. That's going to help our game. 24 seconds speeds up from the 30 second. And I would like to think, I don't know if this is a reality, but I'm sure the NBA can actually learn from FIBA as well. And other leagues. From a wheelchair perspective, we very much base our rules around the FIBA game. And when FIBA makes changes, we basically adopt them unless they don't make sense for the wheelchair game. So the you know, two obvious rules, for example, we don't have a travel rule. Oh, sorry, we don't have a double dribble rule. We have a variant for travel, we don't have goaltending, but we do have another rule that goes in its place because it's a wheelchair. But where the FIBA rules make sense, we want our game to be the same, because when someone comes to watch wheelchair basketball, they can see basketball. They're not looking at some foreign sort of sport. So, but I think that idea of innovation becomes very important.
Yeah, it's good. And also, you know, people are saying that sometimes basketball is difficult to understand, difficult to play, you know, for the kids because there is too many rules and so on. This is also sometimes what is the critics that are we receive, you know, from basketball. But as you said, the development of the rules, and this is something which is great, is done to have a better game. And for example, when they add this unsportsmanlike foul in transition, it was to avoid the cheaters, because so many teams, they were just making a foul like this. We cut the transition, we are lazy, not going back in defense, normal foul, goal on the side, instead of having a nice alley hoop, nice dunk, and so on. And I think these adaptations, we could speak hours about this to understand what is behind the rule. And I think I asked to have one webinar like this. It was not possible to do this, but really it's how the referee should be, you know. And I like to say we are referees, so it's us who should know the rules to explain to the people and to understand why the changes are here. I think it's something which is so important. We will stop a bit with the rules and go back maybe with your decisions. I know it's not the good word decision, but the choice that you made. For example, I will start maybe with Edmond, to say, okay, I want to go more for 3-on-3 than 5-on-5. Why I took this decision, and for example, what I prefer in 3-on-3, what I miss from 5-on-5. What is a bit about this for you, Edmond?
What I missed in 5-on-5. Okay, I only went for a few 5-on-5 tournament because I got my FIBA license in 2012. Yeah. So I went for the under 18 FIBA Asia championship there, and after that I start officiating 5-on-5 in Asia, and moved to the World Tour in the same year. That's how I start my career. I guess why I make the decision is for myself. I was a basketball player when I was in the school, so I like playing speedy basketball. And also for 3-on-3 basketball, we always play with music, disco music, different lighting, a lot of entertaining. I would say it motivates not just the players or spectators, but also for the referees. Because I remember last year I officiated in the World Tour final in Jeddah. So there were no spectators because of the pandemic. And sometimes they have a praying time, so we have to stop all the music there. And when you're officiating without any music, it's like 5-on-5. So the feeling is a bit strange. I think it lack of the motivation on the court, because when you're looking at on how the players they play in 3-on-3, they are so passionate, so emotional. Sometimes it drives the reps to the game as well. And you can start or keep moving with the players. So it's like you're dancing with the players. So that's why I like break-free basketball. And yeah, and also it creates a lot of chances for me, to meet different friends. Because the big difference, I would say, as a referee, when you go for the 5-on-5 tournament, so all the referees they stay in one hotel, separate with the teams. But for us, all the players, referees, or FIBA officials, we are staying in the same hotel. So we always meet each other for the meals. Even you make a bad call during the day, but okay, when you go back to the hotel and dinner with them, you will see the players as well. But this helps us, to develop a very good relationship with the players, because they also want to understand the differences of the rules or the criteria of the game, because they are new. It's like the referees. So it gives both stakeholders opportunities, to understand more. It helps us to improve the communication on and off the court. Because if they know, okay, the rules are different, so they cannot do this on the court. And the next day when you're officiating them again, so it creates some positive connection between ourselves and the players. And I would say I really enjoy this kind of changes in break-free basketball. So that's why I prefer, I moved myself from 5-on-5 to break-free. Of course, considering the duration of the tournament, usually we only play for during the weekend. So it's easier for me to manage my full-time job as well.
I think everybody is agreed that Edmond is very motivated, huh? But it was a question. It was a question about the physicality. It's a big change in physicality in the game of 3-on-3, in your opinion, if you compare to 5-on-5, or aggressiveness, and what do you think that 3-on-3 should improve, or what they should do for the future in the rules?
Yeah, I think if we look at games, maybe back to 5 to 6 years ago, it's more like low blood, low core.
Yeah.
Yeah, because okay, we allow more physicality in the game. But when we were talking about rules, so I would say the fundamental is the same for 5-on-5 wheelchair and 3x3. The fundamental of the basketball rules, we are all the same. And people, they know basketball. They are not dividing, okay, I just know 5-on-5 wheelchair or 3-on-3, because when you're talking basketball, just one, okay, it's just one basketball in the whole world. And since then, so we think, okay, we allow more physicality because people like, you know, like we are playing street ball, so you cannot call a small foul when you just, okay, slightly touch the hands. Okay, that's not possible. This is not good to see in the game. We are encouraging more speedy, more exciting games there. So in the last 2 to 3 years, we're starting to clean the game more, because we don't want some non-basketball action to happen in the court. Some people, when they first watch the game, they will ask, okay, why people they are fighting or pushing or wrestling on the court? So it's something we don't want them to think, okay, 3x3 basketball is not basketball. And that's why we clean the game. We don't allow too physicality or too excessive contact in the game to protect actually the image of 3x3 basketball. And I would say in the coming year, we are still going this way, but of course we are not having the same criteria like we're having in the 5-on-5, because that's that's what we played there.
Okay, thanks for sharing all this information. And yes, about 3-on-3, the game changed a lot, and also the referees, I think, because I was in charge for national team of Switzerland, and when we played tournament in 2014, I remember in Russia, all the teams, they were ready, but for the referee, it was the first time they officiated 3-on-3, so it was a mess for them. Yeah, it's big changes, and I think for the referee, it's a very good adaptation, like I like to say. But I think Matt can speak also about the wheelchair basketball a bit. What are the difference, and also what are the different for the referees, because we are speaking too much about ball addictions. I guess all referee were taught, hey, don't watch all the time the ball. And for wheelchair, for example, it's a must. That Matt, you will speak more about this. I guess that you don't need all. You can care a bit, but it's not where it's the most important to look.
Yeah, well, first of all, the reason I got involved with wheelchair basketball is kind of different to everyone. It was essentially because I was too old. I didn't start refereeing any sort of basketball until I was in my late 20s. I played when I was young, not at a particularly high level, but as a school teacher, I was involved in coaching and kind of ended up having to do some refereeing of able-bodied basketball and moved up pretty quickly with our ranks in my state, in my country. But I was walking into a wall because there was no pathway to FIBA. Not that FIBA has age restrictions, you know, they would never talk about that again. But that was never going to happen. And an opportunity came up with wheelchair basketball. And I remember going to my very first game, and I was supposed to be doing a course, and I was in the course for about half an hour, and someone said, "Oh, Matt, you're on court." I went, "What do you mean? I'm doing this course here?" And I went, "No, you're doing a game." So I went out to do the game, and they threw me the ball for the jump ball, and okay, so yeah, jump ball, that's fine, or tap off, and then a player caught the ball and then had one wheel either side of the halfway line and pushed across the court. So basically the equivalent of able-bodied basketball, 1 foot in the back court, 1 foot in the front court, moving across the court, which you could never do in able-bodied basketball in those old rules. And that threw me for the rest of the game. I had no idea what was going on because that very first thing, and I came off the game and said, thank you very much, but I will never do another game. And in reflection, it was because in able-bodied basketball, even in my very first game, I remember it being tapped on the shoulder when I made a mistake in the rule, in my very first able-bodied game, and that was okay. It was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Move on, didn't bother me. But this wheelchair basketball completely threw me. And then I went off and never doing another game. I'm not finishing the course. And I sat down and I started talking to the players. And I was hooked through sitting there talking to players and building those relationships there on that weekend. If I just packed up and gone home, I don't think I would have done another game, but sitting talking to people. And interesting, talking to Edmond, wheelchair basketball, the culture is like that 3-on-3 culture. We're often staying in same hotels. We had, up until Tokyo, we've always stayed in the village when we go to the games. So from my very first encounter in Sydney, where I wasn't actually refereeing, but the officials were in the village in Sydney. When I went to Athens as a member of the tournament technical committee, it was all in the village. And those interactions between the players and the officials off the court, I was just blown away by the way what I was observing amongst the referees of the time. And it was something I certainly carried forward into my career, that you can focus on the rules and the mechanics and all of those sorts of things in your video reviews and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the good referees are the ones that can interact, that have able to build relationships, that can interact with the players on the court. It's interesting. So often we get told, don't talk to the player. You spend too much time talking, but so often that's the way you diffuse a situation. I can remember in a very important game where I made a call and I knew it was wrong as soon as I blew my whistle, and the player came towards me and the first thing I said was, hey, I know I got that wrong. And they just went, oh, okay. And there was nothing to argue about. And we move on. But it's having those relationships that are so important. And it's one of the things I love about our sport is those relationships. And that's really, what's hooked me all the way through. I don't think we actually mentioned it, but we talk about FIBA. Well, the wheelchair equivalent is IWBF. Officially, that's the International Wheelchair Basketball Federation, but we often refer to it as the International Wheelchair Basketball Family, because it is very much that sort of community, and something that really is an outsider to FIBA. Now, I say that I've worked as a technical official for the 1994 Women's World Championships in Sydney. I was involved in the Olympic as a technical official in Sydney, but there was very much a divide that I observed between officials and players. It just wasn't the same. But so it's very much a difference in our sport that I really love about it. So that's a little bit of input there.
Yeah,
hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good, and a bit the specificities you think in the game of wheelchair. If you want to say one, two things, we will have a full webinar about this. But what is the biggest specificities?
I think the other thing too, just in terms of basketball, some people I hear talking about, oh, you're a wheelchair basketball referee, or you're a running basketball referee, and the differences. The reality that when I started refereeing wheelchair basketball, it helped my able-bodied refereeing, because in wheelchair basketball, you have to do a lot more work off ball. You really have to see what's happening off ball. IWBF actually introduced 3-person officiating before FIBA. We first ran World Championships in 1998 with a 3-man crew. I'm not exactly sure when FIBA introduced 3-person. Someone might be able to fill me in on that, but we certainly introduced it beforehand. Now, the reality is that it wasn't about the speed of players coming up and down the court, which in the running game is an issue, but it's just how much goes on off the ball. and that really developed my off-ball awareness. That really helped me in my running game as well. That's one of the key differences. Many other things, when you start talking about blocks and charges and all that sort of thing, it's very much the same principles as running game.
And we will go through it for webinar. But this is great the way you said, because we can, and this is why we did such a panel, because we can learn so much from each other. There is so nice, so beautiful specificity of each discipline in each competitions that help us to grow as referee. And I think this is something which is important. And as I said to Matt once, I'm a bit frustrated because I already saw competition in wheelchair, but I don't know exactly what are the rules, the specificities, and at the end, it's our sport. Every day, I'm lucky to be every day into basketball, and I don't know one of the specificity. This is something which is a bit strange. So this is thanks for sharing this experience.
Yeah, so just one final thing where it's going to be is the 3x3 game, which is now commencing with wheelchair basketball. I know there's close alignment between IWBF and FIBA, looking at running the wheelchair 3-on-3 side by side with the able body event. So unfortunately, COVID stopped us having our first world event. And it's really put a hold on things. But I know, for example, in Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games, 3-on-3 will be part of 3-on-3 wheelchair will be part of the overall basketball program at the Commonwealth Games coming up. So 3-on-3 is an exciting version for us as well.
Yeah, nice. And
cool.
maybe one question to Carlos, a bit to have all inside. What do you think, in your opinion, when you hear this? What could be maybe a better collaboration between, for you, for example, for your development between 3-on-3? I don't know if you officiate much 3-on-3, but with wheelchair and so on, what do you think could be done a bit best, or what you could do to do it best?
It's excellent here about these disciplines, because we involved an increase with these disciplines. I did experience with the 3-on-3 in my country, because in America we don't have a lot of competitions in this discipline. But I like, because we maintain more passions, we see more physical game, like Edmond said. But is to help to us for more patience and develop our level, because in fight or fight I was a player, but I am bad player. Like why I am here. But these different disciplines help to us every day, because we can see different games, different situations, different points of view, and you can learn about that. You can share information with this top of level competitions. But this is good. Now, for me, or for my country, or for Americas, we need to involve more this discipline, because with that we magnify of the sport basketball, because the basketball is one. The basketball is the same in every world, different ways to play it, but the spirit is the same.
Yeah, exactly. And about promotion on basketball, maybe we'll jump to Samir. What is your opinion about, you said, for example, Africa is a bit behind with some stuff, for example, for the referee, because of the statute of the referees, but what do you think about promoting basketball and promoting 3-on-3 and wheelchair? What can be done to push in this way?
I think they started in Africa to working on basketball 3-on-3 because it's not so expensive. If it was international events, it was so easy. The delegation maximum will be 6 or 7 persons, with the president, with the RF, and with 4 players, because we don't need the coaches. But we're working for the time as I'm a president of technical commission of basketball 3-on-3 in International School Sport Federation. We are working to promote participation of many countries. The last one will be in Serbia, in gymnasium under 15. And we have until now more than 20 countries. And I think to develop basketball in Africa, even for 5-to-5 or 3-on-3, we have to start it with 3-on-3 because it will be so easy to do it. You need just one basketball, and even if you don't have a basket, you can make one, and to make it in near to your home or in any space in the country, and you can to play. Also, the first problem in Africa, this is about the resources, about money. But even when basketball 3-on-3, they give money to the countries, it is not good management to make it. But I think to start to develop basketball in Africa, we have to start with 3-on-3. And now 7 or 10 countries, they started to work on basketball 3-on-3 in school and then in their federation. Just one thing about officiating. If you give me just half a minute,
Let's go.
this is a big. But officiating in 3-on-3 is it's like you are officiating on 3 persons, and they give you a game just to officiate with 2 refs or 1 refs because you changed everything to make a decision. You have to take more information, but the information on 3-on-3, it's not out of ball, but in ball. That means like you are, for many times, you are like a lead ref, and you now for lead ref, not because we started changing now. This is like you are following the development, what will happen with the ball. And in 3-on-3, there is many things out of area of release the ball. This is a big difference, and you need to select which information to take a good decision.
Yeah, and this is for sure. And about which is good with basketball is that we have so many tools to develop our passion. For some countries, it's 3-on-3, some countries it's 5-on-5. Running basketball, wheelchair basketball, there is so many things that we can do and that we can put people together who wants to do something together. And I think this is something important. Of course, organizing an event in 3-on-3 is more easy. You need less people, less people to have teams. If you have 20 people, it's difficult to make a tournament for 5-on-5, but you can make 3-on-3. So, and it depends the spot that you have in the city. And I was organizing event before, and some city were asking me, how many courts do we need? How many places? It depends. Let's build something together. You have 2 hoops. Okay, let's do with 2. If you have 5, let's do with 5. And this is something which is great in terms of development of basketball. Let's jump from totally another topic about the barrier in basketball, the problem with the collaboration, and sometimes between the discipline, which is not easy because we know that some people are totally focused only 5-on-5, 3-on-3 is not good. This is something we don't care. Sometimes people doesn't care about wheelchair basketball and so on. So how can we improve this collaboration? And also in terms of women, I'd like to hear Nadine about this. Maybe what changed into the last years. I think is good about women into basketball, officials, but also player. What do you think are the good changes for the good of the women in basketball, and what do you see it for the future?
I see a very bright future, and women have had I guess less opportunities, but have always had the competence. And I think that, it's too bad. It's too bad that it has to be highlighted as one of the pillars, but I guess you have to start somewhere. This is 2021, but you have to start somewhere. So if it has to be mandated that women need a seat at the table and to have fair and equitable opportunities, then so be it. Hopefully that helps with bringing more qualified, competent women to the fore in all the disciplines, whether it's 3x3, whether it's wheelchair, whether it's running basketball. I think that with this new FIBA Women in Basketball initiative, I think it's great. As you probably know, on March 8th, we had a kickoff for International Women's Day, which is great, because I think that it needs to be shouted from the mountaintops that by the leadership that they support the growth of women in basketball. And I think that was a good start. There's initiatives that are to take place, and on a monthly basis there'll be webinars for women and whatnot. And I hear both sides. I hear, well, why do the women just get it and not the
exactly.
joint and whatnot? But for years the women have been excluded. So now it's an opportunity, but it's also a safe place for people to share, for women to grow, and when you share experiences, that creates growth, that creates development, and that creates relationships and camaraderie. And I think, as if you want to grow as a group, you have to be able to move through as a group, and to develop that sense of community, because there's already a sense of community amongst the men.
Yeah,
let's be honest, right? It's for years it's been a male bastion refereeing, and so now the door is open a crack for women. And we're going to push through. So, and the great thing is, there's so many, when women are given opportunities, we will succeed. And that's what we need, are opportunities from every level. And it starts with the grassroots. It starts at home. And each federation, like I called for on March 8th, make a commitment to what you're going to do differently to support the growth of our game. And in order to support the growth of our game, it has to include everybody, right? And so I think that's really important. But I do want to say that women have been part of the game for years. We often come from playing, move into either coaching or refereeing, and they have so much to offer. And as the opposite sex, we have a lot of things to offer, especially with the skills, communication, problem solving, conflict resolution. We just bring a different perspective and bring a lot of different strengths to the table. And I think those things need to be recognized. And we as women also need to recognize that, we have these strengths.
And to be proud of it, to assume it.
To celebrate
exactly.
that, but we also, we need that, to have that confidence to be able to say, this is what we're going to share with you, and we are leaders, and we're going to express that. But we also need champions. We also need you guys to say, come on, it's one game, like we're talking about here today. It's one game. We are one referee. When you look at the court, I just see 3 referees. That's what it should be. And it's all about, it's all about competence. It's all about teamwork, right? And that's a big thing that FIBA is stressing these days. It's about, how can we come together as a team? Well, one of the first ways you come together as a team is not judging on the basis of gender. It's about, on the basis of what you bring to the table, a competence, right? And so, for me, I think it's important as we move forward is just to provide each other with opportunities to shine, opportunities to share our experience and knowledge, and opportunities to work together. Once people, have that opportunity to work together, to go in the trenches and problem solve together and get through a situation together, you're a cohesive team. And so, really what I'd like to see from this Women in Basketball initiative is people to put their money where the mouth is, really, and to, so that we can see more of a mixed group at these tournaments, both men's and women's, starting with, having more women assigned to both men's and women's tournaments, because there's still not enough women assigned to women's tournaments. So just providing these opportunities, because, we both have great skill sets and those need to be shared. And when we share them, we grow stronger.
Yeah, to share, to understand each other. This is a fact. And I think the way FIBA is pushing now, in the past, it was maybe not in the correct way, but I'm nobody to say that is correct or incorrect, but I think the understanding of the people is much better now. And as you said, we are one team. And sometimes on a game, you don't need the 3 best referees in the world to officiate the game. We need people who are able to make a team, and everybody can put something on the table, as you said, to be part of the team. And then maybe there is people who has more charisma, but if you are a man, there are 3 men, one will have more charisma than one other. And I think this gender also, I spoke many times, and Dubravka did it on some of the webinars she did with us, and also when I hear on the FIBA. This is something so important, and I think this is this barrier. If we can speak about one sport, we will go for wheelchair after, but one sport and one team, one referee team, even one team who wants to grow basketball, it can only make things better. And this is something for sure. Because we need women in our life. This is something for sure.
Yeah,
thank
you need us.
Now we need each other. This is a way. This is a way to say it, and I think this is something which is good. And we need to understand each other more. And this is one big problem. And I made a clinic about communication with coaches, and I mentioned it. Before answering a question, we need to listen to the question, and this is a big problem. We are really ready to reply, but we are not ready to listen to the question. And this is a fact in understanding each other to push the game. This is something important. So thank you for sharing about this, Nadine. And it's I like this vision. Before going to the other, I will jump straight to Matt because the time goes so fast and it's so interesting. About wheelchair, what do you see as barriers for wheelchair comparing to running? What could be done better in terms of what can we do to work better together and improve our game together? Because this is not only about wheelchair or running, but our game of basketball together.
Yeah. I just want to pick up on what Nadine was talking about first, because one of the things I've been proud of in my zone in Asia Oceania is our women in our program of officials, and one of the challenges, Nadine, as a male in the sport, is to not be tokenistic about what we do, and I was very proud of running a tournament in Thailand where I chose what I considered to be the best officials to be at that particular tournament. And it was pointed out to me, oh, you've got more females than males. And it was like, well, yeah, that's just going to be the best group for this particular tournament. And on another tournament where it was a men's and women's tournament, and I put 3 women on this particular game, and people made comment about, oh, you've put women on this game. And I was like, well, actually, no. I've put the best officials, that this is the best group to have on this game. And I think the more, and it's difficult, as I said, as a man in this situation, but I think when we can get to the point where we're not seeing genders, that we're seeing officials, because for me, I can honestly say that's what I see on the court. It's certainly not the case all the time, but I think that's where we've got to get to. In the same way, which leads into your question, Sebastien, about wheelchair and able-bodied. The reality is that many times wheelchair officials are kind of looked on as the poor cousins to the running game officials, that not the same status, whatever. Personally, I never worried about that. I can remember one tournament I went to where officials were there comparing whether they were FIBA or not. And one of the international wheelchair officials went, well, it doesn't matter. Like, this is not the FIBA game. This is wheelchair. But certainly at many levels, wheelchair officials are often put under pressure about, in their countries, are you going to officiate this level of able-bodied game, or are you going to go and do your wheelchair game, without recognising that wheelchair game you're doing might be a national or international game, but it's not seen on the same status. So I think that's one of the big challenges. I saw a comment in the Q&A here about the physicality for 3-on-3 referees not being the same as FIBA referees. Yeah, the 3-on-3 referees aren't running up and down the court in the same way. Wheelchair referees may not have to move as fast. Mind you, there are times where you've got to move very quick to make position. But the physicality of what you're doing is not the measure of what you're doing as an official. And so I think sometimes that's a barrier as well. In general population, even people watching wheelchair basketball, it's more the curiosity of it rather than an appreciation for what the athletes are actually doing. So in many ways, it's a similar but different, it's the same sort of barriers of when we talk women in basketball. It's the same sort of thing, that it's not a lack of respect. I don't think that's the right way, but it's a lack of awareness of what the other is doing. So
yeah, lack of understanding each other and of knowledge about the game, because as I said, it's a bit some kind of frustration for me, not knowing much more about wheelchair. And I would say they are doing their thing on their side, and okay, they do their thing, but why should I not go to them to understand more, to see and how it's important? Because as you said, sometimes you are not officiating on the top level in running, but on the wheelchair you are doing on the top level. This is nothing. No, not at all. This is not at all the same. We have the same that is said to the wheelchair is said, for example, to the 3-on-3. Okay, you were not good referee, so you went to 3-on-3. This is not at all the same. No, this is not at all the same, and this is a totally other approach. And really, me with my project, it's what I'm pushing, and I'm glad that you are part with us now, also that the people can get to know more about the game, because any games, it's something amazing with basketball. Yeah. Matt, you want to say something?
I was just going to say that one of the things I'm proud of in wheelchair basketball is that there are things that have occurred in wheelchair basketball that actually occurred first in wheelchair basketball rather than the FIBA game. And for example, as I said, going to 3-person officiating occurred first there. Use of video technology in coaching referees was being used at world level. So there are a number of things that the wheelchair official is not just someone who's turning up off the street to go and referee a game. There's a lot of preparation and innovation going on as well in terms of what people are doing. So we learn from each other.
Yeah, which is I think it should be the key word: learn from each other, understand each other, and this awareness. As Mina was very happy you said it, and it's totally something which is correct. I will open now. I have one question for you guys about your role into basketball. How you see your role in the future as a technical officer, referee instructor, new referee instructor, or I would say role model as a young referee, talented referee, or 3-on-3. I don't know, referee instructor, top referees. But I will open the floor to the people. If you have any questions, let's go for the question now. And when we are waiting for the question of the people, because the goal is not to have a panel during 3 hours today, because some people need to sleep, some people need to make the breakfast, some people need to go for the game. Very difficult. Everybody has to do something, but we understand each other that we don't want to make 3 hours. This is the best. So go for the question. We will go through the question, but I will go first to Carlos about how do you see your role now as a referee, I don't want to say you are the greatest, but you are really a young, talented referee with a bright future, which is great. And how do you see your role as referee? Because it's good to have good nominations, to have many people speaking good about you, but it's also big pressure because you need to assume it and to be a role model. So how do you see your role in basketball?
Okay. Before I want to say something about the last question.
Yes, go.
Like a phrase. If you want to arrive alone, maybe you can arrive fast. But if you want to choose to arrive with your team, certainly you arrive safe. It's a nice phrase because we need to grow out together. Because like say Nadine, say Matt, we have all capacity to work in the best top level. We have a lot of examples like the women's in the different sports, different opportunities. I like it because I have many colleagues in different tournaments and different sports. I like that. And like my role, like as a referee now, maybe in the future I want to instructor or something like that because we have a passion in a basketball. But my role in now is like a link in the basketball. We have a development of increase the game because we are a part of the basketball. But we know we need to understand we are not indispensable. We need to learn every day. We need to share this experience. We need to work every game like a final with respect, with professional. Now we have many tools to make that. We need to use it. We don't wait. Hey, I received nomination for this for 3 months later. We need to work 1 year before, no 1 or 2 months before the tournament. That's for me is the key. For me is the key for this grow up, have new opportunities, and stay in the high level because the most difficult now is maintain the level.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your experience. And it was one of the question about the how to build the relationship or the communication with coaches. I think you can maybe speak about this because I don't know. Okay, I don't want to say and insult you saying that when you come, maybe the people doesn't know you, but it was maybe in the case 2 or 3 years before. So how you did to be now that the people trust you on the course?
I say something about the coaches and the players.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, we are humans. Everybody have mistakes. Everybody have a bad day. We need to start from that. The key factor here is the respect. We need to respect the game. We need to respect the players. We need to respect the coaches. If you have respect, you are a professional. If in the court we don't talk about this in the last years. Now we have meetings. How to control the coaches, different ways, maybe in like a military, maybe like a friend or something like that. But the respect is the first of all. Now, maybe when make something, we have a mistake, recognize that mistake. Is that the best way to win the coach sometimes? Don't try to lie, don't try to invent something. You need to be aggressive to that, but flexible sometimes because we need to control the game, not destroy the game. But that's the important key for me: the communication and the respect.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will jump straight to Nadine because she got a couple of questions. But as your role, how do you see your role for the women, for the development of the women of basketball? We will go for your role. And there is a question linked to this. Said men and women are equals, but it's not the same in all countries as reality. And how to improve the vision. I think with your answer about your role, maybe you can answer this question.
Yeah, it's tough because I'd love to facilitate change around the world, but I'm just one person. My reach is not very far. However, when you talk about a vision, I think that if you continue to share your vision, if you continue to reach out and ask for help, and if you continue to allow let other people take up the mantle and to run with a similar vision of, basically it's about opportunities. It's about, willingness to, I guess, grow the game. And in order to grow the game, to provide everybody with equal opportunities, to be able to learn, to be able to and learn on the same stage, right, on the floor, together in the classroom. I think that, yeah, in different countries, there's a different vision, or different opportunities, and that might play into politics or, barriers, just cultural barriers for women, which we hope that in trying to provide some global education, and also we hope that with the leadership of FIBA, and that people will come on board to be a part of the vision and the growing team. So I guess it's a trickle down effect. So that if there's direction from up above, from the leadership of FIBA, hopefully people will be able to jump on board to participate. So that's what I hope the vision spreads globally, and that everybody decides that we want one game, we want one look, we want one set of referees. How are we going to do that? This is how we're going to do that, is come together. So hopefully that vision will help, but it has to come from it's the top-down vision. So that's how I think it would work.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this. We had also one, I don't know if you saw in the chat, women in basketball. I think I understand the concept that nothing gender is the goal. During the journey to this goal, how important is it to celebrate the accomplishment our women who rise to equality?
Oh, it's very important to celebrate, and it's not celebrating the big achievements. I'm a fan of celebrating every incremental step that we take, and it's not, you don't have to have all this fanfare, but it's about recognition, it's about acknowledgement, and I think that in order for people to continue doing work, we need to be acknowledged. A lot of us do this stuff for free, work these committees, do all this. And I think that by highlighting, just on your national federation website, Twitter, whatever other social media there is that national federations have, the International Federation, just to celebrate, and not just women. I think that all officials need to be celebrated and need to be acknowledged, and also, highlighting the lives of people, what people have sort of had to do to get to a certain level. What people, also highlighting what different national federations are doing, right? Because that's how you learn, that's how you share knowledge. For example, this month in Canada, it's Women in Basketball Month in Canada. So each week, the different disciplines showcase and highlight their disciplines. So it's women in coaching, players, administrators, and then starting next week is a full slate of webinars and educational sessions for officiating. So, doing things like that to promote your sport at different levels is really important, and people learn, other federations learn from that. you know, and that's how things go global. So I think celebrating is very important. It's crucial because that's how people stay motivated, and that's how people learn more about each other, really, is by sharing that.
Yeah, thank you very much. We will jump to Hong Kong, Edmond, before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Not joking. Now to see a bit your role in 3-on-3, and there is a question, I guess you saw it, about the artwork is a matter, no matter of the gender. This is something for sure, but how to become a good 3-on-3 ref, maybe you can help them. How to officiate contact with our different, what is the big difference, maybe I would say, from 3-on-3 and 5-on-5, and also to share a bit about how you see your role as referee, top referees, and also I guess helping a lot into clinics.
Yeah, I would say to be a good referee at first, you have to make yourself comfortable on the court. Because it's completely different for free basketball. And it said, okay, we got a disco music, we have a DJ there all the time, so play music. I know some referees, especially for the locals one I work with, they get used to the regular the running basketball game. So when they're playing music, it's hard, it's challenging for them, you know, to concentrate in the game itself. That the team may distract the decision. So first, I would say you have to make yourself comfortable. Second, is keep evaluating yourself. It's easy for us right now with all the technology support. After the game review, find the mistakes or what you've done is good. Look at the mechanics. But I would say to talk to someone, be open-minded, to ask for opinion. It helps, because if you're not listening, especially to the experienced one, it's really difficult to improve, especially when to some referees, it is very new to them. So you have to learn from someone who got experience so that you can reach another level, because they know, because they experience what you are going through now. So they will give you more, you know, wiser advice. So you can make to the next step. And I want to refer to the previous questions is talking about the physicality of the referees in 3-on-3. Yeah, it's different. We don't have to run, you know, on the court. But I would say this is a misunderstanding, because to be honest, even we don't have to run a lot on the court, but compared to 5-on-5 or other sports, basically the referees had to stay in the venue for the whole day, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours. And it doesn't mean we officiate one game and then we can take a rest. You know, we have to stay there and we have to wait for the nomination. Maybe you got the first 2 games in the morning and suddenly you got the last 2, which is the final. And it acquires a lot of energy, because you have to maintain yourself, not physically, but also mentally, ready to make the decision. Especially the game is fast and there's a lot of context happening in the game. We have so many things happen within the 12 seconds shot clock. So we have to very mentally concentrated. So that's some, I would say, misunderstanding when people are talking about, okay, you move to the 3-on-3 because, okay, maybe you are not physically prepared. That's why you choose 3-on-3. You just keep standing on the court. So that's different. So how to manage the physicality in the game, especially is different between 3-on-3 and 5-on-5. I would say we use a lot of preventive officiating in the game. We communicate a lot with the players on the court. So that's why I would say communicating on and off the court help us to improve the management of the game. And when we are dealing some, some not crisis, but some situations where the players, they are not agreeing with the call. But like Matt said, okay, we do apologize when we are making mistakes, but they understand. So they just keep on playing. So I would say for 3-on-3, we communicate to the players and educate them what they cannot do, what physical contest they cannot make on the court. But also we have a lot of materials, training, webinars throughout the season to make sure, all the referees, we are on the same page. We understand the criteria, and watching more games because we have so many events in every country, and also FIBA they publish the videos online, so it's easy for the referees, especially those who really want to try officiating in 3-on-3. So just keep watching the games, understand why the referee make those decisions. And I would say it really helps. And as my role, I would say I want to be a catalyst to motivate people, first to understand the sports, and then second is to encourage them, okay, to try being a 3-on-3 referee, because we are developing very fast in the last couple of years. We have so many games, we have so many players, but at the same time, we need more referees to support, because we have to balance. We have more events, which means we need more good referees to help us to educate the players as well. So I would say as a role, I would take myself as a catalyst for this one.
Thank you very much. And also we had one comment that is it true that 5-on-5 is more like a marathon and 3-on-3 like a sprint? Do you agree with this statement?
Yeah, we always say 3-on-3 basketball is a 10-minute sprint.
Yeah. No, but also for the player, so as I said, that 3-on-3, it's it's easy game. It's for the player who are second division player. But when you start to play 3-on-3, the tempo, also the rules to adapt yes, exactly. This is something. But we like to criticize. It's the same, with this barrier. We are speaking bad about the other discipline or the competition, but we have no clue about what's going on exactly for this. And this is a huge problem. We should care more, try to understand more and listen and learn from the other. Thank you, Edmond. Matt, we will jump from you. How do you see your role, now for the wheelchair EWBF, but also maybe to connect more all the discipline together? And there is one question that I would like you to answer. It's more general, and maybe Nadine will answer also after. It's about the number of the women into officiating in the nominations. Is there any number that you need to or you want to appoint at the end, for example, of 2022, that you have like 20% of the women? It was the question.
In terms of role, really right now my focus is trying to give back to the sport that has given me so much, and in doing that, it's trying to share my experience as a referee with the next generation, and trying to remain current with what's going on. I think that can be a trap for us. I almost said the word. Us more experienced officials, that we try and educate officials in the way that we did things, when in actual fact that game is gone. It's a new game. It's constantly evolving, constant change. So it's trying to remain relevant, but also trying to pass on your experiences. And so for me, one of things I try to do, for example, I used to hear a lot, both in the running game, in wheelchair, people say things, you need to read the game. And it's like, yeah, okay, but how? Like, how do you teach someone how to read the game? And so for me, it's about getting rid of some of that jargon and trying to say, well, what was I doing when I was reading the game? When I saw a play coming up the court, what was I looking for? And in wheelchair, it's all about not just what's happening here, but what's happening at the next step over, and then the next step over, and identifying. So it's actually trying to pass on that kind of thing. So for me, that's very much part of it. Part of my role, I guess, within my own country is very much about the enthusiasm for the game and trying to get other officials involved. I think the challenge is, certainly within my country, there is nowhere near as much wheelchair basketball played as there is running basketball. And so to encourage someone to say, listen, don't give up your running basketball dreams. Don't give up the level of running basketball that you're doing. But here is another pathway that can enhance your running basketball officiating, but also provide you with another pathway. This old bloke that was too old for FIBA has had an international career, has refereed in front of 18,000 people in a packed a Paralympic stadium, that there is another opportunity there, that you're still using that skill set that you've got and developing it further. So I think, you know, that's kind of what I'm about. In terms of the quota, no, there's not a target number. And I think personally, I think we've got to be careful of this idea of targets. I think what we have to do is, picking up on something Nadine said earlier, is removing the barriers. You know, if we stay, for example, right, we've got to have 20% of women at this particular tournament. Are there 20% of the population that are wanting to be officials? Now, you know, and I think what we have to do is go back to that grassroots and remove the barriers that says, look, it doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter, for me, even what your age is. None of these things should matter, that we shouldn't be putting these things in place. For me, and I've said before, it's about seeing people as people, as seeing us officials as officials, recognizing the various strengths that we all bring to the game, that we're all learning from each other. And as I said, you know, it wasn't intentional, it wasn't tokenistic, but I was certainly proud. And picking up on what someone else said, one in the comments that's gone off my screen right now, we celebrated the fact that we had the number of women that we did in that tournament in Thailand. We celebrated the fact that this particular game was officiated by these particular crew of women, that because they were the right officials, that they had the skill sets, etc. And I think we've got to get our focus correct. That it's about removing those barriers that stop anyone from following what they're trying to do in the sport, whether that's officiating, playing, coaching, wherever those barriers might be.
Yeah, I think this is something totally right. And there are now so many great examples of women who are successful. And also about being a referee could be another talk, you know, because for the young players, sometimes it's difficult to be a referee, to stay into referee, because people are saying bad things about you, and to teach the young referee or the young players that referee are part of the game and so on. This is also a tool. And the same for the women. There is so many opportunities for the women like for the men, and they need to understand this. Just before we go through it, I will just say bye to our friend Samir.
Yeah, thank you. Just
yes, because he has to go.
First,
yes.
By chance, I have a game today with a woman, okay, in a high-level division in Morocco, and she will be an international ref. She also working in wheelchair. She followed the session in wheelchair, I think in Serbia or Croatia or something like this. And I think for Nadine, Africa is open. And I think the first topic to make it for the future international ref, women international ref, it will be for leadership. We have no cultural barrier in Africa. Everything is open. And the last one is with Coach Liz, with Kenyan team, and everybody is talking about, and you know, a woman coach for a national team in Africa. This is new, and everybody like it. I will tell you, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity with you. Hope to see you, I don't know, in Tokyo. And if not, I hope to see you again in another panel. Thank you very much, Sebastien. Thank you,
Merci,
thank you, Carlos, Nadine, and Mr. Matt. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Samir.
Thank you, Samir.
Samir.
Yeah, thank you, Samir. As Samir said, it's a good example of success of women. We have one head coach as women. She qualified for the first time. I think it was Mali for the Afrobasket. It's just right now. And coming back to this opportunity for the women, and also the women who are successful, it's a way also of teaching and the message that we want to pass. And for me, I think it should be the same as in Switzerland, for example. We did a big work making understand the U15 that the friends who making referees, not because they are bad referees, they just want to help the community to officiate the U13 games. And it's not the, how do you say, the black duck, I don't know to say in English, the one with the black sheep, the one who has no idea. No, he wants to help more, he wants to know more about the rules. And then the way the other were seeing the referee was better, less complaint, better understand of the game and so on. And we are growing now with more young referee, because before we were losing almost all the referee after 1 year. And now we don't lose this kind of referees. And this is something I think we need to push and to understand more and to share more. For the women, it should be totally the same. I don't know if Nadine, you want to answer about the quota, I would say, or
I agree with with Matt about you know, there should not be any quotas. We want to stay away from the word quota. I think that you know, it's about bringing up the levels and recruiting and working to retain women, recruiting and retaining women who can bring whatever skills to the table that we need. So you know, I don't like the word quota, but what I do see is that there's room for improvement, and we have to take advantage of that. Yeah, so that's what we have to work with. I'd like to speak to Todd's question.
I wanted to go to this question.
Yeah, he asked a really good question that he said that you noted many changes in the game in recent years. What changes have you seen in mechanics or other aspects of officiating during this time period? Yeah, so I have noticed many changes over the years, going from, I guess I stopped FIBA refereeing in 2012, so it's almost 10 years that I've been either working as a commissioner or a referee instructor. And I think one of the biggest changes is the level of professionalism that, you know, we moved. When I was refereeing, it was sort of, you know, you go to a tournament and you did your games and you did a lot of touring and you did this and you did that. And there wasn't any educational component, or what we call now is a pre-competition clinic. And there wasn't any, you know, back then there weren't any sort of post-game assessments really. And to have a pre-game with somebody, that was totally unique. And only if you were really working with maybe, you know, somebody else who spoke English or whatever. So you rarely ever got that. And then you didn't get post-game feedback. So just in the administrative part, there's been a huge change. And I think that level of professionalism over the past 10 years that has really improved officiating around the world, because what that has brought is it's brought an emphasis on competence. It's brought an emphasis on knowledge of the game. It's brought an emphasis on the importance of mechanics, the importance of teamwork, the importance of the intangible things like communication, stuff we never talked about before, right? The importance of video analysis. So that has changed leaps and bounds, and not even just in the past 10 years, the past 5 years. Those changes have really come to the fore. You know, when I talk about the pre-tournament clinics, pre-competition clinics, you know, in those clinics, we have 3 to 5 days of educational sessions, 3 to 5 days of teamwork sessions. We're just getting to know each other, developing that rapport amongst the entire crew off the court, so that when you go on the court, that rapport is there, because that is the important thing that binds the crew together, right? So you're not all just making individual calls here and there. What you're doing is you want to work in sync, in harmony with each other on the court to make for a better game. So that emphasis on those intangibles, teamwork, also the emphasis on I guess the holistic nature of a referee, because refereeing isn't about calling balls and strikes, right? Let's be clear. Refereeing is about how you communicate those calls, how you communicate all these other, just the interpersonal interactions on the court. It's about what they call it game control. Well, game control is about how you work with people on the court. I always say when I'm teaching, I go into schools and teach officiating or teach my officials here at home, it's a triangle. So the players are on the top, the coaches, and then the referees, and we're all working together to create a better game. And so to me, that there's no calls in there, there's no mechanics, there's no nothing. What it's about are those interpersonal relationships that you establish. And the addition of Dubrovka into the refereeing family and into that holistic picture has, I can't even put it's made such a huge difference in the growth of our officiating, because we're moving away from just focusing on rules and mechanics. We're working towards building a well-rounded official. And I think that's been a huge part of adding this professionalism to our game. And also the education piece, sharing the knowledge to everybody around the world so that everybody can grow at the same time is fantastic. That's inclusivity, right? That's equity. And that's what we're also developing. And so now with the women in basketball, now we're developing also the diversity, right? So we've got the DE&I that's starting to move into our game. And that teamwork, and the other component that's really built our game and grown our game is an emphasis on basketball knowledge. And so when Matt talks about read the game, I think that's translated into, what are you learning about the game of basketball? And with that extra basketball knowledge, that sort of creates that holistic picture of the referee, in that you're not just calling balls and strikes, but there's a reason why you're making those calls. There's a reason why you're going to talk to that player at this point in time of the game. There's a reason why you're doing this. So it's bringing all of that together into a big professional package to create a well-rounded, holistic official, I think has really changed the game. And then there's the introduction of the referee instructors who, I remember, back in my country, my federation, at the end of games, you'd always be scared because you knew which calls you blew. And you'd always be scared to walk in that change room because there's somebody going to be throwing a clipboard or yelling or just, going off the wall over something. Well, the new referees and instructors, you're there to help facilitate. You're there to support and encourage and to motivate and role model and bring out the best in people, right? And so there's been a huge shift in that too. And I guess it's a shift in the culture, the shift in an understanding of what everybody's roles are and what we're there to do to make the game better. So that's where, there's lots of other changes, but for me, it's about that holistic change, and about bringing some of those intangible things into refereeing, the nutrition, the fitness, the psychology, all of that, to build that FIBA image of being strong, decisive, and approachable. So anyways, that's it.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing your it's not opinion, it's your vision or your way of thinking. And I think this is something which is great. And there is so many things to learn, so many things to share. Before we finish, it was a couple of questions on it. I don't want to go too much on it. It's about age limit into wheelchair, but also there is also about FIBA. It's also a big question. Sometimes in the NBA, there is no age limit. In FIBA, there is, and so on. What is your opinion about a bit age limit? Matt, if you want to share your opinion a bit about it.
Well, I was 55 when I refereed in Rio.
Yeah.
So I broke the age limits there. I got involved late. Look, I personally don't like age limits. I also, even within our running basketball back here in our country, in our state, I really had a problem when I was coming through with young officials who would get upset at an older official. Now, I wasn't one of those older officials. I was up and coming. But some of those older officials that were doing their 6th and 7th state championships, and they were like, it's our turn. And it's like, no, it shouldn't be about that. You need to be better than them. If they want to keep out on the court, we need to be better than them. And it's about improving our standard. And personally, in my country, I think in many ways I've seen things go backwards because people get things too easy. And I find that people don't have the resilience to deal with not getting something anymore. That we're losing that. And so, look, I think it should be about, once again, I go back, it's the same thing when I was talking about gender. It's really about person's competence, about what they're doing. I know when I went to Rio, it was more of a challenge than London had been and Beijing, because now the body was getting older and it was harder to prepare. And in many ways, I was ready. I was ready to retire, but not because of age. It had nothing to do with that. It was just that was the time. I was happy to leave. Still, I believe, refereeing well, but I wasn't getting out to give someone else a chance. In fact, one of my disappointments, if I'm honest, was that I really was trying to challenge our younger officials in Australia to take my spot, as I'd work hard to try and take other people's spots at that world level. I wanted someone to come and do that. And in a way, my disappointment was that I hadn't, I don't think it was necessarily my role to mentor someone to be able to do that, but that I hadn't helped anyone to come through to do that. And I think it's really important. I think the experience that a person brings on the court is far more important than their physicality of getting up and down the court. I watch NBA, I watch college referees, and I love watching college refereeing. I think the college basketball refereeing, I think, is in many ways the purest of basketball refereeing that I observe. And there you just see the difference experience makes with these officials, rather than just simply being able to get up and down the floor, the understanding of the game, the understanding of relationships with players, coaches, etc. So in short, no, I disagree entirely with the idea of age. It was a barrier to me in my able-bodied career. Fortunately, I was able to overcome that within my wheelchair career and was given the opportunity to referee until I was ready to retire. And I really think we've got to encourage people to compete for those spots, not just step aside.
Yeah, exactly. It's to encourage, to challenge, as you said, the people, and that the people get challenged to get this kind of position. Again, if you understand better all your organization is working, or your hierarchy is working, then you feel that there is this challenge and there is a fair challenge. I think this is good for the improvement of the officiating, the improvement of the game, and this is something which is really, really important. I think we will finish on this because we could go for so many questions, but I think it was already a good time, 2 hours. I was expecting not to be so long. So thank you everybody. Thank you our panelists, Edmond, Matt, Nadine, Carlos. Thank you very much for being here. It was our first experience as panel like this, and for sure we will do it again in the future. And it was really a big pleasure to have you and that you share like this your experience and also your vision. I think we had very good questions and the people were very happy to be able to listen to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastien.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastien. Yeah.
So I wish everybody a good day, a good morning, a good night, whatever, to enjoy. Hopefully that everybody can soon go on the court, watch games, that fans can go back in the gym, because this is difficult time for everybody. But I'd like to say, and I will finish with this, we can see that we love basketball because we are missing basketball. We are missing to be on the floor with the people. And this is something which is taking positive, something which is not the best. So thank you very much. Hope to see you soon on the panel or on Never Stop Learning. And as I said, please, if it's possible, send us some feedbacks about this panel. So thank you very much and bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.